I won't give my personal information to a fake mother. These unbelievable words flew out from my daughter-in-law's mouth, leaving me speechless and resolved. Won't you regret this? I asked. But she retorted with a mocking tone, I won't. Then, there's no helping it. I am not a weak woman who gets intimidated easily. You have crossed a line you shouldn't have, I declared. My name is Linda, and I am soon to be 60 years old. After my husband passed away, I raised our 2 children with all my might. Fortunately, I pursued the path of calligraphy from a young age, obtained my license of master, won many awards, and was able to support my family with the job I love. Life is unpredictable, so the 3 of us lived modestly in an apartment, saving money every month without indulging in luxuries. My eldest son, Michael, was an easy child in his younger years, but as he grew older, I sensed his emotional fragility. My daughter, Emily, unlike her brother, grew up to be a spirited and lively girl. Emily, a hard worker, managed to pay for her college tuition with part-time jobs without relying on me and landed a job at her first-choice company after graduating, where she works with great enthusiasm. Michael, perhaps due to his indecisiveness, struggled to find a partner and was still single at 35. I was worried, but in today's world, it's not uncommon for people to remain single for life. Therefore, I refrained from pressuring him about marriage. After all, there are countless people who marry and end up unhappy. Marriage doesn't necessarily equate to happiness. Then, Michael brought a girlfriend home. Emily and I were curious about what kind of person she would be, but we were taken aback by how different she was from what we had imagined. Of course, it's not right to judge someone by their appearance, but she seemed heavier than Michael, who weighs less than 132 pounds. Before Michael could introduce her, Jessica said, "This guy insisted on me meeting you, so here I am." Nice to meet you. Normally, one would be nervous in front of their partner's parents, but Jessica was unfazed. Normally, calling someone this guy might be fine for Michael, but I believe it's common sense to use their actual name, especially in front of their parents. Am I just being old-fashioned? When I served coffee and cake, Jessica wolfed down the strawberry cake in 2 seconds, chugged her coffee, and immediately said, "Can I have more?" After some light conversation, Emily asked, "Jessica, what do you do for a living?" "Just call me a sis," she replied. "That's a bit." Emily hesitated, probably not wanting to call her that, and I felt the same. Is Michael really planning to marry this woman? Work? I'm not working right now. I had this annoying senior who was like a nagging old lady. So I put her in a chokehold from behind when I got pissed off, and I got fired. A red card for that is just too harsh, don't you think? I was appalled but felt the need to teach her some basic social norms. Things are different now, laws have been revised, and it's not easy to fire employees. But workplace violence is a valid reason for immediate dismissal, I explained. Jessica then smirked at Michael and gave him a playful punch on the shoulder, saying, "Hey, you're siding with the old lady over me? You're not going to stand up for your girlfriend?" Michael looked troubled and said nothing. I worried about their future. Jessica continued to visit our house frequently. She would casually open our fridge to eat ice cream, drink Coke, and munch on the snacks on the table. Emily and I were dumbfounded, but we hesitated to complain, fearing her retaliation. Eventually, Michael moved out to live on his own. Perhaps Jessica suggested he should live alone. For her, it would be more convenient to visit him without his family around. One day, as I placed the calligraphy paper on the table and picked up my pen, Emily asked, "What's this month's phrase?" Each month, I would write an inspirational quote and hang it on the wall to motivate myself. I wrote in one go, "When dealing with others, be as gentle as a spring breeze. When facing evil, be as fierce as a lion king." Jessica also peeked in and exclaimed in surprise, "No way, this is incredible. You could go pro, Linda." Emily immediately glared at Jessica with a displeased face, saying, "She is a professional calligrapher. Are you a calligraphy teacher?" "She's a calligrapher, a master in her field," I explained. While I was pleased with Emily's desire to boast about her mother, Jessica didn't seem to pay much attention to what others said. I've always struggled with calligraphy classes. With all the talk about the right way to flick and press the pen, I almost wanted to throw the pen at my teacher, Jessica remarked casually. Jessica, since your handwriting isn't great, you should take lessons from my mom. Michael suggested lightheartedly, but Jessica glared at him terrifyingly and whispered fiercely. Next time you say something stupid, a dropkick won't be the end of it. Come on, don't be so mad, Michael responded. Jessica laughed heartily while watching TV. To put it nicely, she's powerful and hardy. To put it bluntly, she lacks refinement. No, she was insensitive, presumptuous, rough, and coarse, not at all suitable to be Michael's wife. I was the one who wanted to throw the pen at her. Jessica was overly familiar with my daughter Emily as well. Emily, you're so skinny, are you eating properly? Jessica, have you ever considered going on a diet? I was taken aback, but Jessica continued the conversation with a smile. How old are you again, Emily? I'm 28, she replied. I'm 30. You shouldn't be so cheeky to someone elder than you, or you might get a headlock from the bulldog, Jessica threatened. Bulldog? Yeah, people often say I resemble a bulldog. Haha, are you picking a fight? She might have intended it as humor, but neither Emily nor I found it funny. One day, I called Michael home to have a serious conversation with him and Emily. I'll be clear, Michael, I am against you marrying Jessica, Emily stated firmly. What? If that's what this is about, I'm leaving, Michael retorted. This is important. I was willing to trust anyone you or Emily brought home, but Jessica is beyond unreasonable, I explained. That's not true, she has her good points, Michael defended her. Michael, you can't even stand up to Jessica, it's pathetic, Emily criticized. I had intended to choose my words carefully, but Emily was direct. Normally, if your girlfriend disrespects your mother, you'd call her out, right? You should at least be able to tell her to shut up, if she complains, she added. You don't know Jessica, saying a shut up would land me in the hospital within 2 seconds, Michael admitted. While I believe a relationship where the woman is stronger can be ideal, Jessica's aggressiveness was excessive. Marriage isn't just about two people. It involves becoming part of each other's families. I had hoped to treat Michael's wife like my own child, but honestly, I had zero confidence in getting along with Jessica. A tense silence followed until Michael suddenly stood up. What's with everyone bad-mouthing Jessica, he exclaimed. Does that mean your friends are against it too? Emily inquired. Yes, they all say it's a bad idea, telling me to leave it as a rehearsal, instead, they're all terrible. Michael lamented. I couldn't help but think his friends had the right idea. A marriage celebrated by family and friends is ideal. I wished Michael would reconsider, but he kept defending Jessica. You all refused to see her good side, just bad-mouthing her, I'm sick of it. Michael argued. We're not speaking ill of her, I clarified. Her parents are kind though. They always welcome me warmly, treat me to fancy steaks. And even took me to a high-end sushi restaurant where we ate at the counter, Michael shared. Michael, is that what you consider kindness? Emily and I were both appalled, but Michael stood his ground. Compared to her family's home, coming back here feels like lying on a bed of nails. If all we can do is have such depressing conversations. I won't come back anymore, Michael said. It seems Michael couldn't keep a secret from Jessica, as he ended up telling her that Emily and I were against the marriage. Jessica stormed into our house with Michael in tow. I never imagined you'd both be bad-mouthing me together, she said. We haven't said anything bad about you, I replied. You're not the ones getting married, so stop interfering. She retorted, her tone becoming more aggressive, revealing her true nature. Jessica even fiercely criticized at Michael. This is all happening because you didn't talk things through properly, she scolded him. When Jessica delivered a knee strike to my child's body, I couldn't hold back and shouted, stop it. People change through the relationships they have. Some change for the better, while others change for the worse. I wondered where I went wrong in raising Michael. I don't recall spoiling him. During his teens and 20s, a time for personal development, I made sure not to indulge him in luxuries. Growing up without experiencing hardships can lead to a weak character, even in favorable circumstances, resulting in constant complaints. Those with strong spirits can push forward even when adversity is a daily challenge. I wanted to raise a strong child, but Michael turned out weak. After unilaterally complaining about me and Emily, Jessica left Michael behind and stormed off. When Emily confronted Michael, he too lost his temper. Siding with the mother in a fight between a mother and a girlfriend is the worst, isn't it? He argued. That's not true, I countered. You have no idea how suffocating it is to be caught in the middle. I've had enough, Michael exclaimed and left. We didn't see him for a while after that. Then, unexpectedly, something happened. I found a postcard in the mailbox. We're married, it read, with a photo of Michael and Jessica smiling arm in arm. So they had gone through with it. I guessed they must have had a small ceremony by themselves and, as a parent, decided to send a congratulatory gift. Curiously, the new address wasn't written on the postcard. I called Michael. According to Michael, the small ceremony wasn't just for themselves. Jessica's parents, relatives, friends, as well as Michael's friends and colleagues, were all invited to a grand wedding celebration. My knees went weak, and I felt drained. Do you realize what you've done? I asked. If you're going to preach, I'll hang up, he retorted. The wedding took place without inviting any of the groom's relatives, to keep it from me. The faces of our relatives flashed before my eyes, one after the other, filling me with sadness. I couldn't explain why they weren't invited to Michael's wedding, and now I can't even face them. Didn't Jessica's parents object to such an obviously wrong decision? Like parent, like child, both lacking common sense. Something inside me started to crumble. Then Jessica came on the line. Think hard about why you weren't invited. But we'll still take the wedding gift, she said. I wanted to bring a wedding gift and a housewarming present to your new home. Could you please give me the address? I asked. I won't give my personal information to a fake mother, she snapped. I was dumbfounded by such an unbelievable statement from Michael's wife and made up my mind. So, you won't regret this? I asked. But she mockingly replied, I won't. Then, there's no helping it. I'm not a weak woman who cowers when spoken to harshly. Put Michael on the phone. If you're going to lecture, forget it. Bring Michael out now. When I raised my voice in anger, Jessica shot back. Don't act tough just because we're on the phone. Next time you yell, I'll headbutt you. Hello? There's something important, so come home. I don't want to hear any depressing talk. I also have to give you a wedding gift. A wedding gift? Hearing about the wedding gift made Michael say, I'll go, which made me feel even more disheartened. I decided to speak with Michael one-on-one, fearing that Emily's rapid-fire criticism might cause him to storm out mid-conversation. I wanted you and Emily to be strong individuals, so I didn't indulge you in luxuries or tolerate selfishness during your teens and 20s. Enough with the old stories, where's the wedding gift? Thanks to your father's hard work and my earnings from calligraphy, I was able to save most of our money. As the conversation turned to money, Michael's eyes lit up. I've always lived frugally and saved money, planning to surprise you with a substantial amount when you got married. Michael's smile grew wider, and he leaned in eagerly. I saved $100,000 for you. Michael's eyes widened in shock, and he exclaimed joyously. $100,000. But you made a big mistake by holding a wedding without telling your own mother. Big mistake? In my common sense, that's absolutely unthinkable. So, you're no longer my son, you're a stranger. It would be rude to give a large sum to a stranger, so I must decline. Michael was stunned for a few seconds, then started to plead with a tearful face. What do you mean, stranger? That's nonsense, give me the $100,000. My only child is my daughter Emily. Please leave. Wait, it's because Jessica didn't want to invite you. Then you should just care about your new family. Michael was flustered by my firm stance and cold voice. The conversation is over, so please, you may leave now. Is this how you talk? Are you cutting off ties with me? Holding a wedding without telling me is the same as cutting off our parent-child bond. No, no, no. No matter what Michael said, I wouldn't forgive him. It's always been like this, always favoring Emily, Emily, Emily. I only have one child, so how can there be favoritism? Michael stormed out of the house, crying and shouting. As planned, I moved from the apartment to a new house, and Emily and I lived comfortably together. Without encountering Jessica, we didn't accumulate any stress. One day, I returned from shopping to find Michael in front of the house. I'm surprised you moved to such a magnificent house, and it's new and sturdy. Did you follow me here? Give me the $100,000, it's unfair to favor just my sister. I have nothing to say to a stranger like you. Please leave. Then Emily came home. Michael, you brought this on yourself. Reflect a little. Not that reflection would make me forgive you. Are you planning to take $200,000 for yourself? Relying on parents' money at 35 is already a failure, don't you get it? Emily's words were harsh. To prevent Michael from becoming agitated, I intervened. This is the path you chose. You abandoned your parents and sister to choose your wife. Holding the ceremony in silence means just that. Michael hung his head, unable to retort, when a taxi pulled up and Jessica emerged, shouting. Here I am, summoned to the rescue. I knew you'd be manipulated by your toxic mom and sister, so I'm here to help. Jessica launched into a tirade at Emily and me like a machine gun. What do you mean by moving without telling your family? That's unbelievable. Family? I turned around and then looked back at Jessica and Michael. Who are we discussing as family here? Oh, playing that card? Turning around dramatically as if talking to the wall and then implying it's me, that's movie cliché overkill. Not that I dislike such dramatic pauses. You're the one who called me a fake mother. So? I have no intention of giving a wedding gift or a housewarming present to a fake son and a fake daughter-in-law. Quibbling, huh? If you try to trip me up with words, I'll hit you with a reverse dragon screw before you can land a spinal cord slice. You can't pin me down with a verbal small package hold, it doesn't work that way. I couldn't hold back and yelled. When you're having a serious conversation with someone, talk seriously. I warned you about the headbutt if you yelled again. Are you saying your learning ability is less than that of a crow? I'll call the police. Jessica seemed slightly intimidated by the mention of the police but was not ready to give up. Anyway, I'm taking the $100,000. With that, Michael and Jessica left. I was disappointed, not because they didn't want to sever family ties, but because they were only after the money. It's a common trope in dramas where the mother, moved by emotion, ends up giving money to the son. That never benefits the son. If someone strays from the path, family should help, but if the pampered mentality doesn't change, they'll surely repeat the same mistakes. I resolved not to give them a single penny. I want to be as gentle as a spring breeze to good citizens, kind and refreshing. But against evil, a spring breeze won't protect loved ones. Against foes, one must confront them like a lion. I respond sincerely to sincere people, but I must stand firm against arrogance. The boomerang effect is dreadful. Given her behavior, Jessica might have hurt many people throughout her life. Apparently, Jessica's parents are on the verge of divorce. Michael informed me, but it's none of our concern. Jessica's father, in his 60s, had an affair with a woman 20 years his junior. He had an inappropriate relationship with a female employee for years, and his wife found out. A quarrel between Jessica and her father during a family dispute led to him being hospitalized. Michael's words weren't just a metaphor, it was true that she would resort to physical violence. One night, Michael came to me in tears. What can I do for you? I'm sorry for everything, please help me. Help you how? Despite it being night, Michael raised his voice. Family is supposed to help each other in times of need. Keep your voice down, you're disturbing the neighbors. As expected, the neighbors were watching from their windows, so I reluctantly let Michael inside. Jessica and her dad got into an argument, and when he slapped Jessica, she unbelievably put him in a German suplex. German? You wouldn't think Jessica could execute such a perfect bridge with her physique, right? Normally. Emily slammed the table and snapped. When you're making a serious request, don't joke around, speak seriously. I'm not joking, I'm just panicked, Michael said. I'm not well versed in wrestling, so I don't know what a German suplex is, but I could tell Michael was confused. Her dad hit his head hard and is now in the hospital. He's lying about falling down the stairs, but Dr. Smith is suspicious. I have to tell Dr. Smith this is a case of assault. Please, don't. Michael pleaded desperately, clutching his head, then whispered. If her dad can't work, we'll be in financial trouble. Her mom and Jessica don't work, so my small salary isn't enough to support us. Then you need to hurry up and get Jessica to work. Although, I'm worried if there's any company that would hire her. Despite the sarcastic remark about Jessica, Michael didn't get angry but begged instead. Mom, I don't need the $100,000, but could you at least give $10,000? Please. That's impossible. I replied without hesitation. Michael then said. Understood. I'll bring Jessica over and make her apologize. That seems unlikely. I'll definitely make her apologize. I felt a twinge of parental affection, thinking that if Michael could indeed make Jessica apologize, maybe I could reconsider. The next day, Michael really did bring Jessica with him. Though it might have been an act, Jessica looked at me solemnly and apologized. Please forgive my past rudeness. Really, you thought you were being rude? In that instant, Jessica almost glared at Emily but quickly lowered her eyes. Please help our family. We beg you. I refuse. I replied instantly, and Michael's face turned pale. Mom. Before Jessica could apologize further, I cut her off. Your apology is futile. Jessica was quivering with humiliation, but I continued. A person who has lived for 60 years, like me, should not be underestimated. You can't imagine what kind of ordeals they've been through. Jessica slowly looked at me. Did you think I was just a kind-hearted calligraphy teacher? Even if you bluff about being a gangster's wife, I won't be scared. Jessica. I gave a wry smile. You really lack imagination. It's not about that. I'm patient, but once I decide I can't forgive someone, I can become utterly cold. Do you understand? Isn't family supposed to help each other in times of trouble? Emily shook her head in exasperation. Jessica, you've crossed a line you shouldn't have. Please leave. Realizing she wouldn't be forgiven, Jessica turned her frustration on Michael. It's your lack of persuasiveness and credibility that's the problem. It's because you can't hold your patience. You promised to endure whatever was said. Go argue somewhere else, this is unbearable. Cold-hearted sister. She's telling you to perform a pile driver on the concrete outside instead of the carpet. Fearing for his safety, Michael dashed out of the house, with Jessica quickly following. I didn't stop them. I heard Michael's screams from outside, but I ignored them. It seems that Michael got divorced from Jessica. And Jessica's parents got divorced too. The family was truly falling apart. My heart ached, indeed. If I laugh at others' tragedies, I can't escape the boomerang effect myself. Michael came to the house again, but I talked to him at the entrance and didn't let him in. This is hard to say, but is there any chance I could live here with you? That's impossible. Michael hung his head as I immediately answered. Coddling him now would defeat the purpose. After that, there was no contact from Michael. The days were like a storm, but now, like after a typhoon, both Emily and I are enjoying clear skies every day. One day, Emily said she would bring her current boyfriend over, which made me nervous. If her boyfriend turned out to be another unreasonable and outrageous man, it might just be fate. However, the boyfriend Emily brought was a well-mannered and decent young man. I was relieved.